What's up guys, it's the Wolf of 2K here, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make your own portrait packs. So first and foremost, you're going to need a few things. The first thing is the MLB 2K12 roster editor. Now there's a link to that download in the description if you need it, but it's a pretty essential tool to have for any modding that you're doing. So it's, just might as well download it now. Secondly, what you're going to need is a photo editor software, so whether that's Photoshop or something like that. I like to use GIMP just simply because it's lightweight and it gets the job done, but whatever floats your boat. Now, getting into it, you're also going to need to set up a folder, label that folder portrait, and inside that folder, create another folder called 2x. So that's it right here, and just leave it like that. There's nothing else inside it, but that should get you, ready to make your own portrait pack. So first and foremost, you're gonna find out whose portrait you're gonna make. So for me, I'll just choose a random team, let's say the Giants, and I'll look through and see who already doesn't have one. So Pablo Sandoval doesn't, he still has the one from the Red Sox, and let's say Drew Stubbs, he has a generic face. So right there and then I'll close out a 2K because I know it will be Pablo Sandoval and Drew Stubbs portraits that I'll be making. So the next thing you want to do is open up Google, and you're going to type in the player's name, followed by the word ESPN, and then go to images. And the reason I suggest you do this is because ESPN actually provides really useful PNGs of the players that you can use for the portrait making. So I have a picture of him on the Giants, and I'm just gonna go ahead and save this on the desktop and name it P Sandoval, so I know who it is. And then I'll go look for Drew Stubbs, ESPN, and again I'll save it to the desktop. So once you have both of those done, good and ready, you're gonna open up the roster editor. Now once you do this, you're gonna find your roster, whichever one you're using, and you're gonna find both players. And the reason you need to do this is because we need the portrait ID. So we see for Drew Stubbs it's 6123. So I'm just gonna open up a notepad and write down Stubbs is 6123. And again, I'll search up for Pablo Sandoval, and he is 2357. So I'll just note that down real quick, and I'll minimize it. So that's all you're gonna need from the roster editor as well. So you have both images and you have their IDs. So now you're gonna go ahead and open up your photo editing software. Now, if you're doing big projects like entire teams, or like 10 plus players or minor league players, whatever it might be, it's really important to streamline the process, because the little seconds in between each step can really add up. So of course, download all the images first, then look up all the IDs at the same time. In the end, it does really help out. So now that I have my photo editing software open, I'm going to create an image that's 512 by 512. Now that's important. It can't be any other dimension. It has to be those. And I'll get something like this. 1 second. And I'll get something like that. So you're going to want to have a transparent background on it. So get that done. And then next, just a helpful hint here, create a new folder group, a layer group, sorry. And the reason why is because if you import, let's say 25 players, you can edit the sizing for them all at the same time, and that makes it much easier. So if you look over here, I just have a layer group, and then I have a blank 5x12 layer. Now I'll take both images of Pablo Sandoval and Drew Stubbs. Oh, my laptop's being a little glitchy. And I'll import them in here. Now, in this case, Pablo Sandoval's image is far off the sizing of Drew Stubbs, so I'll edit it manually themselves. But essentially, you're gonna want to get a good enough size, comparative to the square as you would see in the menu. Something like that is good enough, where there's just enough of the jersey but you can still see enough of the face. So I'm going to do the same for Drew Stubbs here. And over time, you'll realize that like exact sizing doesn't matter. I used to have a sizing template for it, but the way the angles the images are taken at, sometimes it can get pretty difficult. So once that's done, once you have both players relatively the same size, you're going to create another 5x12 5x12 image. So I have another one right here. Now what you want to do is simply cut that one from there and paste it on your new image. And this is where you bring up your notepad again with the player IDs, and all you're going to want to do from now here is export this file. Now, important, when you export the file, it has to be the player ID, the name, like that's what the name has to be, the player ID. So for Pablo Sandoval, it was 2357, and then the extension has to be a DDS file. Now, a tip here, oftentimes if you use GIMP, or I'm not too sure with Photoshop, but it might not come with a DDS compatibility, so you're gonna have to download that extension. It is free. You can find it online, and how to install that. It should take no more than a minute, but you gotta make sure that your software can handle DDSs. So I'm just gonna do the same here with Drew Stubbs. He was 6123.dds. And here's the next important part for both players when you're exporting it. You're going to want the compression to be DXT5. So it's going to give you all these options. You're going to want it to be DXT5. And you're going to want to generate bitmaps as well. So both of those things need to be there when you export it. So here we go. Right here we have our two players. And what you're going to want to do with this is simply place them inside the portrait folder, inside the 2x that we had mentioned before. So once you have that done and all good to go, simply compress it using 7-zip or WinRAR or whatever you're using, and you should get a zip file. Now, if you've seen my other tutorial, which I'll link down below as well, how to install it, you just know you have to simply open Total Installer thingy, select that zip file, hit start, and it should install both portraits. Now I'll load up 2K here and see if it all went smoothly. If you guys have any questions about this process at all, please leave a comment down below and I'll try to get to it. Also, if you have any requests for how to mod something, or just general 2K questions, then leave them down below and I'll try my best to get to those. So here we go. I'm going to go to the Giants in the moment of truth. You see Pablo Sandoval's in the game. Unfortunately, this is a pretty low quality image, but if you look at Drew Stubbs, you can see that he is also into the game now with the image I selected. So that's it, guys. That's all it takes to make a portrait pack. Of course, if there's many players, you're going to be repeating this process, but essentially that's all it takes. It's a pretty straightforward and simple process. The more you do it, the more easier it becomes, and that's all it takes. So thanks for watching, guys. This is the Wolf of 2K. Please like this video if it helped you out, and subscribe if you want more 2K content. Until next time.